Well, hello everybody. I am coming to you live today on Facebook, and we're on Periscope, and we're also over on YouTube today. So I'm testing out a new streaming platform, and wanted to spend a few minutes with you guys, and yeah, play a little catch up a little bit. For those of you who don't know, and before we get started, I wanted to show you, like, you see this. This is Scruffy. Like, we were recording this morning something called the Bedhead Chronicles, and so, like, the scruffier the better, which is kind of funny, with respect to this new series. Kind of trying to put a little tongue in cheek where the coronavirus quarantine stuff is concerned, and just trying to have a little bit of fun with it. So today, while we test this out, I wanted to have a little chat with you guys, talk to you about somebody who made a big impact on me personally. A little girl. Her name is Charlotte Figi. You might know that name, and if you don't, you should. Charlotte suffered from roughly 300 plus seizures a week, and she was suffering with Dravet syndrome. And from really the time she was born until a few years ago, Charlotte had seizures constantly. As a baby, her mom would hold her, and she was fearful that the shaking in her baby, like, when it stopped, that might be the last time. And God bless the Figis for everything that they went through. It was one heck of a journey. And I'm saying this because on Tuesday night, Charlotte lost her battle. She did turn around quite a bit, and you may have seen her on Weed on CNN. It's actually running in the background right now, CNN. And Dr. Sanjay Gupta did a special to talk about the Figi's journey through Dravet syndrome, and what Charlotte had been enduring with respect to her seizures, and the journey that they went through to try and get their daughter medicine that actually worked. And anecdotally, there was absolutely nothing to let them know that something like cannabis would help. And ultimately, it did. They were able to see Charlotte's seizures reduced down to one or two a week, as opposed to 300. And so I gotta say, when I woke up this morning and I saw the headline, I didn't see it last night. When I saw the headline this morning and I read that, I cried. I did not meet her. I know. I can tell you that what her and her family's journey meant to me, and I think a lot of other people out there, it just resonates with me unbelievably. There are laws on the books all over the country now that were written as Charlotte's Web laws, and that was due in part by virtue of the Stanley brothers developing a strain of cannabis that was high in THC, or high in CBD, low in THC, specifically to begin to treat children with, and it was quite successful, as most of you know. So I do have to say that without that journey, without the unbelievable bumps and hurdles that they had to go through, the country and the world would not be where where we are right now, because of them. And so, you know, if if I were in that situation, I don't know how I would cope. Um, I'm sitting here right now watching Charlotte and Sanjay in the background, because they're continuing to run this story, and it's very inspirational. Having met Charlotte's mom, and talked to her about that journey, and about the hurdles that they constantly faced. It was a heck of a tale, a very harrowing journey for some very brave parents. And so my heart goes out, to the Figis and to everyone who worked with them and on their behalf, for so many years. So I very, very thankful that that fight continued. Um, so if you happen to see threads out there talking about Charlotte, take a moment, let chime in. I think right now, as we sit in quarantine, um, this is, I think this things like this can be difficult, but we can help each other, with how we feel by just communicating and supporting each other. And I can't even imagine, what they may be going through. Obviously, with the pandemic on, and COVID being a primary topic of late, and Charlotte's passing was definitely questioned as, whether or not it was COVID. She did die from complications with pneumonia, and it was said that she was not COVID positive. But nonetheless, it doesn't change, the very strange times we live in. And so I would, encourage you to participate in honoring, Charlotte, and you know really come together. Whether or not it's about Charlotte or just in these crazy times, this is a good time for us to lean on one another. Um, Shifting gears a little bit. Last night, was Passover, and first night of Passover, and we did Passover. Had our family, had people from Vegas, and whatever, and everybody joined in, via Zoom. Um, and that was cool. I think we got to the end of dinner, and my sister and her family, they're they're sitting at their table, iPad set up, and we're looking at them, they're looking at us, and we're here in Florida, they're in Texas. My wife's friend in Vegas, and it was very cool. My sister said, why does it take a pandemic for us to realize that we can have dinner together? We could do this without the thought of us being under a lockdown. And so I think that the realization of some of the things that we actually can do to be a part of one another's daily lives, we can actually do that. Right? Ingenuity, necessity is the mother of all invention. Right? So I would definitely encourage people. 420 is coming up. We're talking about 420 activities, and what does that look like? What does that mean in this strange time that we live in? And feel free to chime into the chat wherever you may be. I'll put any of your input up on the screen. If you've got some ideas on how to you know celebrate with one another, send them on. I think that's the thing, is we're finding that there's really cool things that we can do with one another. The traditional ideas surrounding you know doing a Zoom video conference. Well, those ideas are suddenly becoming bigger and larger, and that's kind of a cool thing. Thanks, Aaron. So, I do have to say that there's some really cool things that I'm seeing people do. The virtual concerts, those are awesome. Um, you know, there's a lot that I think folks can do. There's some traditional education. I know that we're talking with our production team about some of the cool things that we can do. But I would encourage you. This is the time. You can work from home. You can work in bedhead, and you can be scruffy, and like you can accomplish some cool things, and right up until the point you're ready to turn the camera on. But this is that time. And I along those veins, Cannabis Radio has been working hand in hand with the USCC Expo for a long time. And, as we began to traverse into this year, we had, a question about, whether or not, we were going to be able to book, um, you know, our normal venue. And so those questions have been lingering, and we didn't commit yet. And I think we're kind of glad we haven't, as things have started to cancel and what have you. And as we've started looking, like there's virtual events that are rolling out, and ironically, we were working on this back in October. We have our platform, and you only need to go and visit usccexpo.com and check out what we've got going on over there. Uh, we will have a virtual trade show floor. Right, you can actually get a virtual exhibit, and in your booth, you can have video. You can give away, coupons or flyers, or you can, you know, hand out white papers, any of that kind of cool information, sales sheets, order forms, this sort of thing. And, you can actually turn video on and you can engage just like we are right now. And that's important because we can't let a pandemic or this virus keep us from being able to work. And I can wholeheartedly say I've seen the cannabis industry do unbelievable, amazing things to evolve and to work, where conditions were very rigid and regulation, provided a rigid framework that one needed to stay within. And I've seen people that literally take up every square inch within the framework and do it amazingly, specifically because this is what people are good at in this space. How do they make something look far bigger than what it may actually be. Cannabis people are amazing with making more out of less. It's just the way they are. And so I can tell you, going into this, we were excited, exploring these opportunities last year, looking at, how can we break down borders with respect to this industry. Borders create natural issues with respect to cannabis. And so we started thinking about how we could expand the borders. How do we take those and get rid of them, and us have a seamless experience with one another, whether you're here in Florida or in the United States or just on the face of the earth. And so for us, that was kind of an exciting thing, a borderless event where, laws did not keep people from assembling. And we all know that at cannabis events, sometimes you guys like to whip out, get smoking, and that can create, issues with respect to consumption laws. Well, guess what? Wherever you are, anywhere in the world, while you're participating with this event, if you feel the need, you can. If you want to take orders online, you can do that as well. the fact that you're digital does not restrict you from being able to do business. Obviously, transporting product and what have you, you've got to be able to maintain, your license and of course operate within your legal framework. We encourage you to do that. But of course, this is also that opportunity to look at how you can grow your brand into other states and or other countries. Folks in the CBD world, this is a great time to come together and to talk about how you can further grow the industry, grow your brand, your footprint, look at other avenues for developing products and our services. So a very exciting time for us. And if you're not an exhibitor, if you're not in the business, but you want to come, you want to learn, we are going to have an amazing, amazing lineup of education. Learning about the products, learning about cooking, learning about your weight, your endocannabinoid system, all of the things that you could possibly want to learn about the cannabis plant. We're gonna work very hard to make sure that we round out that lineup so that that's the kind of content you can have access to. And believe it or not, for this month only this month, tickets are actually under $1. That's right. We cut the prices specifically for the pandemic. It's an issue. People are talking about the economy and what they can do. Well, for less than the price of a Big Mac, literally that simple. You can get a ticket and you can come hang out. You can network. You can go visit all the booths. There is a virtual bar to come and hang out. You can do that. You can shoot the breeze with people. You can, video chat with folks. For those that want to smoke together, you can do that too. It's a great way to be able to network, see people face to face, even though you can't be there. And in that, in that vein, it will allow you to be able to get in, participate, learn as much as you can. Also, check out, the potential business opportunities. We're talking with one of our customers now over at Cannabis Radio about doing a job fair. Lord knows, with all the people losing their jobs right now or being furloughed, there's a lot of uncertainty surrounding what what our country may look like after this. Well, I can tell you, the cannabis plant is not going anywhere. It hasn't for thousands of years, and it's not going anywhere in the middle of a recession. In fact, I took a phone call last night from some friends there in Arizona that said cannabis sales are spiking in Arizona. Now, overall sales they're kind of scattered down in a downward trend around some of the other states where people are definitely locked in. I did hear you Arizonans are still out running the roads, which apparently is why cannabis sales are doing so well in Arizona. Um, so I could wholeheartedly say the plan isn't going anywhere, and I think if anything, this is a good time to sharpen your skills, and maybe look at what this next chapter might look like for you. So definitely take a few minutes and go over and check out usccexpo.com and get your tickets. That's right. A quick hello. I'm gonna run down the messages real quick. Frank Watson, Aaron Cronus. What's up, Aaron? Dave Inman, Nani, how are you? And of course, Alan Slavner from Canada. What's going on, buddy? How you doing? Looking good there, Slav. So that's I think that's what I've got for you guys today. Again, I definitely wanted to highlight a little bit about Charlotte and what the Figgies have gone through and the loss really to the industry. Charlotte was an inspiration to all of us, and I can tell you that wholeheartedly. Um, I feel for absolutely everyone that is experiencing this loss. It's a hard one, that's for sure. All right, folks, for everybody at Cannabis Radio, I want to say thank you for tuning in and watching. My name's Darren, if you guys hadn't figured out that yet by now. But thanks for watching, and we'll be back soon uh, to talk a little bit more about some of the things going on right here at Cannabis Radio, USCC Expo, and you guys stay safe, stay quarantined,